Zoe.
Hi, this is Monica.
Hi, I'm Zoe Ye, a human being who failed to live a conventional life. I have a deep interest in people and their choices of life. In my podcast, I'll be having conversations with individuals who are open to talk about their mental journeys in life. This season is called My Mental Journey of Migration. 8 guests will share their experiences of living in different cultures. Today, we have Monica as our guest. Let's dive in. Monica, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I can do that. Hi, everyone. I'm Monica. I was born in Taiwan and I moved to the States for my PhD study. And then now I'm in the Netherlands working as a researcher in natural science at the university. So yeah, it's been a pleasure, to move around the world, to see many different things. I've been having fun, so that's good.
How long have you been in the US?
Oh, wow. I spent long years. It's 7 years straight.
7 years.
For a PhD degree, which is a lot. But yeah, I feel it's, a good challenge, but also very rewarding. When I was in the middle of my study, sometimes I don't think so, but when I look back.
Well, 7 years, that's so long.
I know. But yeah, in the end, when I look back, I find it very, very fun. And yeah, it's really rewarding experience.
Where were you based in the US?
I study in the Midwest, in Illinois. So basically one word, cornfield. Cornfield after cornfields after cornfields, and sometimes you see cows, but cornfields again. Yeah, it's very, some people would describe it as very boring place, but I myself love boring place.
So you introduced yourself as an introvert, right?
Yeah, that's why I love boring places.
But the first time I saw you, I was like, this girl laughed out so loud. She doesn't seem to be an introvert. Tell me. Tell me more.
I must say, if you know me before I live in the States, you will probably see a different person. I think it's the American culture that has trained me to trash talk a lot. Just keep talking on and on and on and on when there is, a blank space of time or something. You will feel awkward and you just want to say something, even if it's just trashy immediately. So I think I was trained by the States to trash talk. And I think in the end, it also helped me to be more accessible when I'm in a new setup or new environment. It's now much easier for me to connect with other people. Before I would just don't talk to me. I want to stay on my own and or I just want to go home. But now I'm I think it's part of my training in the States, in the professional setup, especially very important. So sometimes it means that you need to really need to reach out to new folks, for example. So it helps me to do that. In the end, you will get a trash talking Monica. But I myself indeed is more introverted. That means I need space and time to spend with myself. So that's back to the cornfield topic. I love boring places, different from my folks. So yeah, I mean, in our campus back in the States, just biking 10 minutes or so, you are already in the middle of nowhere. From time to time, when I just need to release my stress, I just carry my bike, go to the cornfields, seeing no human beings at all, just other animals like deer or bunnies or whatever. And yeah, just be with myself and enjoy the nature, enjoy the sunset, enjoy the breeze. That was really healing moment for my daily lives. That's my outlet. Yeah. So
you chose the right place to be in the US. I can't imagine if you were living in New York.
I would die. I would suffocate myself immediately. Indeed. I feel quite lucky when I look back because I couldn't imagine myself to live in LA or New York.
Because you describe yourself as more introverted when you you were in Taiwan?
Well, now still. Just, I think I built another self, trash talking Monica versus true, genuine, introverted Monica. So I kind of keep these two sides when I am in professional setup or meeting new friends. When I want to show my, being friendly, I am truly, genuinely, I still care about people. I'm willing to reach out. It's more like a skill set that you own, but true self still introverted. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No. I was trying to interrupt you. I thought that, in my mind, there was a little Monica bringing everything from Taiwan to the US and then got overwhelmed by all the loudspeakers and all the trash talks. I was like, what's going on?
Even stranger can ask, how are you doing? I was like, I don't know, you okay? I'm doing fine, thank you.
I'm imagining that introverted Monica trying very hard to convert herself into a more sociable version, but from what you described, it seems like you developed a new identity of yourself just to blend in.
Yeah. That's pretty precise. Because in that setup in the grad school, there's a lot of occasion that you were asked to hang out with your fellows. Yeah, you just placed in the pool of people that you're expected to be social. Otherwise, it seems like at some point you will feel like if I'm not social enough or, like a butterfly flying around, you will fail in your career. It's at some point I feel like that way. So it's kind of also peer pressure because everyone else is so social and so outgoing. And if you're just like a nerd sitting in your bedroom in front of your computer, it's not gonna work in the American setup. That was my perception. Yeah.
Did you suffer? Maybe let me rephrase it. So for the two identities, I think you probably need to nurture one of your true identities. But then in an environment that you feel pressured to always talk.
Trash talking. Yeah.
How do you preserve the true self?
Yeah, I feel the long 7 years in the States has been a long journey, not just for my professional training, but also my self-awareness. Because before I went abroad, even how much I know about myself is probably not that much. I thought I understand myself, but I didn't. But when you're dropped in a entirely foreign setup, and initially I just embrace whatever comes. Got invitation to someone else's house, okay. Got invitation to hang out for beer, okay. I okay everything. And this introverted one comes up. The introverted Monica is so drained. It's so screwed. I was like, there's also language saying, because I have never been an environment that's 24/7 English speaking. First few months, I entered to my office, chatted with my colleagues all the time. And then by lunchtime, I feel like, heck, I'm so ready to go home. I don't want to speak English at all. That's language thing. But the culture thing on the introverted Monica is I was also draining myself to give, always to give. My energy is always outgoing, but I never learned or be aware that I need to also gain energy from somewhere else, spend time with myself or something, take a break. No, I wasn't really aware of that. This process of learning about myself, how to self-care and how do you see yourself? How do you see others with respect to yourself, relationship-wise with your colleagues? That takes me a lot of time to tidy and to find a good, healthy mechanism to deal with. Yeah.
Did that work?
You need to try and error.
What did you try?
Yeah, initially it's actually one of my good friends there. We were really close friends, and she noticed I wasn't mentally doing well because back then I was in the not very healthy working setup, and then it's through her help to I came to realize that I didn't set my personal boundary properly with others, because back then I wasn't even understanding myself well enough, that I wasn't aware I was offended, for example, or I wasn't aware I was hurt, or I felt hurt with others, like that line, like I haven't really built it up. So she sensed that I wasn't doing well, and she helped me to, just sit with those feelings, recognize those patterns. Without her, I couldn't walk out of this, with now healthy, happy Monica. Still introverted, but much healthier. Yeah, for example, I have a former colleague who likes to gossip. I don't know, I just feel bad for the person that's being gossiped. And I didn't know what to do, didn't know how to, confront, because I tend to avoid conflicts. So I tend to be super evasive towards, fighting back. But I feel there's something wrong. Several things entangled. This boundary thing wasn't working. In the first phase, I was so screwed. I didn't know what to do, and I let it slide, and I feel bad. So that's, phase 1. Phase 2 is then I recognize I feel uncomfortable with that, and then I start to think, what kind of mechanism, what kind of little actions, what are the things I can do, and what are the things that's out of my hands. Like through the accumulation of several episodes, of course, I have so many episodes that I failed to achieve the final nicer status, but in the end, through my friends' help and being really dedicated into finding a good model to execute, things that I want to achieve. So I think it's a long process.
Sounds very heavy.
Sounds heavy, but I'm glad that I learned the lesson in that very point of time, because later on, when I need to deal with my family issues, for example, I use the similar training set to train myself how to deal with my family issue better.
Sounds like as an introvert. Well, I'm an introvert.
Yeah. Okay, we can be friends.
Yeah, it's very difficult, and it's very important to set boundaries so that we can preserve our energy and really, really help us to nurture ourselves in our own pace.
Yeah, especially when you are in a world that expects you to be super outgoing, super social, and super extroverted. In your professional setup, you need to gain visibility among your community. It reminds me of a book called Quiet. It's written by Susan Cain. She had a TED Talk, but her book, Quiet, it's written for introverted people, or your friends or spouse with introverted people. It helps me a lot. Yeah, I'm introvert, but I can still be social. I can still be friendly, you just need to find a healthy mechanism to cope with the world. You don't have to convert yourself into extrovert.
I totally get it, because usually on Friday, and then I'll ask Monica what are you going to do this weekend? And her usual answer would be,
home. I'm such a homie. I love to stay home.
No. She will be very frank and saying, I'm an introvert. I don't really want to be around by people. You're good at saying no.
Yeah. Well, I learned. Before my American days, I wouldn't say that. I was like, I don't know. We will see. Evasive, Because you study in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel there's like a British influence on you towards different setup? Like American it's very outrageous, and British
Britishes, they are really bad at saying no.
Yeah.
And they are really good at being polite.
Right.
Every day, if I'm staying in the UK, I will have to say more than 10 times of sorry or excuse me. But in the Netherlands, that probably
you bump into someone, you just go. You don't
just
apologize.
go. Yeah.
Guys.
They are not direct compared to Dutch people. You know what Dutch people are famous for. So let's talk about Netherlands.
Okay.
You moved from the US to Netherlands for your current job.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
And was it a difficult move for you?
It was a very interesting move, because I came to the Netherlands in the midst of pandemic. That was a summer before they had a second lockdown in the winter. So I kind of came, in the happy window of summer. People start to party by Wageningen or somewhere else. Like they had cocktail, wine, beer, whatever in the happy summer. And then afterwards lockdown Taiwan game. Wow, let me say something rude as an Asian. So initially, I expected the Dutch culture or vibe-wise is somewhat similar to the American one. So I didn't expect any culture shock. But in the end, I was still shocked. So it's interesting because I expect like, well, they're all white and like they speak, like Western language. So, but in the end, interestingly, I feel living in the Netherlands it felt more like home back home in Taiwan rather than the American setup.
So do you feel more comfortable or do you feel
I feel uncomfortable again.
Interesting.
No, I mean, Netherlands is interestingly comparable to Taiwan. You can do the math, right? The population density is super comparable. So in the end, what I feel very unexpectedly that the sphere of influence from the individual constantly interfere with each other. You could hear your neighbors all the time when they have party, when they watch football games, when they fight with each other. You hear that all the time, especially when you are living in the older house. Like my first apartment here is like few hundred years old. So, the walls are thin. Why I feel like back in Taiwan, because you hear, kids screaming, parents are disciplining their children, couple fighting, things like that. But in the States, because like from house to house, you are much more sparse, so away from each other.
Cornfields.
Yeah. See, you basically feel like a cow. So you have this constant sense of the existence of the other very human beings. That was like unexpected. So it's very interesting. Yeah.
And as an introvert,
I feel it's not very happy setup because when you really want a space that's entirely your own, but these messages or these things constantly flying to your own cosmos, that's quite challenging. So in the end, I just got 2 pairs of noise canceling headset and that's it.
Can you claim back from the Dutch government and say
I wish. Reimburse me for what I spent because of your culture. God damn. Give my money back. No, wow. I asked this question to my Dutch friends, like, how do you guys cope with, this constant of interference from others? Basically, they say, well, I don't know if that's representative now, but like from his observation, he says like, yeah, we interfere with each other and we ignore each other. But that's probably my problem. I couldn't ignore that. It's like, it's not a background noise I can filter out. It's like whatever comes in, it comes in, and I can never read of that. So yeah, noise canceling headset.
So I think maybe Netherlands is not a great place for you. You should go for somewhere else.
I mean,
Germany, as you mentioned earlier. Personally,
I love middle of nowhere. I miss that definitely a lot. If I am going to stay in the Netherlands for longer term, I will find a new home that's in the much more middle of nowhere rather than the current city. Basically, city is not my thing. So I would definitely, exactly. So I would, I can work in the city, but I cannot live in the city setup. My friends ask me like, but you in the city, you enjoy other facilities. You have museum, you have open market. I was like, I couldn't care less. So like, I'm happy to be in a more rural and quieter setup. So I don't know. Yeah. Sometimes I would see myself like I'm, 30-ish, but I feel like I'm in a grandma mindset. I was like, I'm so ready to retire in my, living setup.
So making friends in a new culture, new country is always a very difficult thing, especially for introverts because we try to hide ourselves all the time. How did you manage to find a community if you have any at the moment?
Yeah. That's a good question. Well, in terms of my experience both in the States and the Netherlands, I started my community from church because I'm not just a Christian, but also a more liberal one. So for me, I always started from finding a good Christian community that are closer to my value spectra and also welcoming and also international friendly. Because I actually tried some Dutch churches and they feel immediately the culture is somewhat different. Dutch Christians, I feel they are much more reserved. So I visited a church several times, but in the end, I feel like we always stay distance and smile, but never chatted. So they're still friendly. It's not that they are, so aloof and doesn't care about you. It's just, maybe it's the pace, how they approach each other. And also I'm like Asian looking. It's not white looking anyway. I don't know whichever factor plays more, but in the end, I'm like, luckily I found a good English speaking, international friendly church in this area. As an introvert, I think that helps already because you already know that share similar values that you value. For me, is higher level of, comfortableness. Like you are comfortable and you can share more things openly. So that helps me to feel more relaxed outside of my working setup. Like my weekends, I can just freely hang out with my church friends. Yeah, and we can share difficult topics. It's easier to share things for me as an introvert because I already know there's something in common that we can be open about.
And also church community, they have a very fixed schedule. You get to go there on Sunday.
Yeah. that helps actually, because sometimes you think of this person, you want to ask how they're doing or something that they're worrying or stuff. Monday through Friday, you just didn't find the time window, but you know that you will definitely meet them on Sundays. So I think that helps to stay this continuity of relationship wise. Yeah. But in the end, I still meet friends outside of Sundays. We hang out.
For me, I want to make some gym friends. But then it's really hard. Because everybody has their own schedule. That's why I said, if you go to a church, you see same people at the same time.
Yeah. That is true. But
if you have like a hobby, people may have different schedules. And
just the consistency that you don't get to see same person all the time. Yeah, I get that sense. The other thing I would like to, my church is interesting because it's not, I said I was looking for a church community that's closer to my value spectra, but actually that church houses a wide spectra of people. So
wild or white?
White.
Wild.
It's majorly white, but it's international friendly. But it also has people that not just on my side of spectrum, but you also get to talk to people from the other side. For example, I enjoy that a lot because it's a friendly enough setup that you get to know what makes them have this value towards the same issue, although you are probably on the opposite side of the perspective. But it's in a more friendly and more open up setup.
Thank you very much for sharing.
My pleasure. It's been fun.
I'll see you again. Maybe you will come to my podcast again soon.
That'll be nice. That'll be fun. All right. Ciao.
Bye-bye.